All right, Shalom. First off, give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Rakar, Kadash. All right, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS. Salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring in truth and sincerity, and the women and children who follow. So, today we supposed to be going to this powwow, man, here in Omaha. It's gonna be at Fort Omaha. But I just wanted to go into the history of it, because it's really relevant um, to the history of the Gadites period. And I'm just gonna let the article speak for itself. It says Fort Omaha, originally known as Sherman Barracks and then Omaha Barracks, is an Indian War era United States Army supply installation where they still have actually they get them like tanks and stuff down there, like on that far side by uh Laurel.
Yeah,
Yeah, right there across from the liquor store. But
Yeah, go figure, right?
right. It says located at 5730 North 30th Street, which is right in the heart of the hood. Okay, it says the entrance at North 30th 4th Street in modern day North Omaha facility is primarily occupied by Metro Community College, which I actually went to Metro for a little bit. It says a Navy Operational Support Center and Marine Corps Reserve Unit. That's because that's where the reserves are as well, right there where the tanks are. So it just gives the lamb a go down. We're gonna try to get some footage of all this too while we get down there. It says this is where Ponca Chief Standing Bear and 29 fellow Ponca were held prior to the landmark trial of Standing Bear vs. Crook. It says Judge Elmer Dundee determined that American Indians were persons within the meaning of the law, that the Ponca were illegally detained after leaving Indian Territory January 1879. The Fort Omaha Historic District is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The district includes the 1879 General Crook House Museum, which I've seen that. We'll try to get some video of it as well. It says, as well as the 1879 Quartermaster's House, 1878 Commissionary, 1884 Guardhouse, and 1883 Ordnance Magazine, and the 1887 Mule Stables. So we're going to go into the Standing Bear versus Crook. It's going to get a story. And this is a picture of Standing Bear.
Go on.
So, it says Standing Bear, he was born 1829 to 19. He was Ponca. Let's go to Standing Bear versus Crook. In 1875, the Ponca Paramount Chief, White Eagle, Standing Bear, and other Ponca leaders met with a U.S. Indian agent, A.J. Carrier, and signed a document allowing removal to Indian Territory, present-day Oklahoma. It says White Eagle and other Ponca leaders claimed that because of a mistranslation, he had understood that they were moved to the Omaha Reservation, not to the Indian Territory. So they wanted to stay here in Nebraska, but they're trying to move to Oklahoma. Like all the other Gadites, that got moved to Oklahoma through the Trail of Tears or whatnot. And in February 1877, 10 Ponca chiefs, including Standing Bear, accompanied Inspector Edward C. Kimball to Indian Territory to view several tracts of land. After viewing land on the Osage Reservation and the Carr Reservation, the chiefs were unhappy with what they were shown and asked to return home without looking at the Quapaw Reservation. Angry about what he called the Ponca chiefs' insubordination, Kimball refused to take them home until they had viewed all the land. Instead, 8 of the chiefs decided to return home on foot. Them was the real niggas right there. Like, man, fuck this nigga. You ain't got to take me home. I'll walk from Oklahoma to Nebraska. You know what I mean? It ain't nothing. It says Kimball visited the Quapaw Reservation and selected it as the removal destination. So he just went ahead and just signed it himself pretty much. In April, Kimball headed south to the Quapaw Reservation near present-day Pierre, Oklahoma, with those Ponca willing to leave. In May, the remainder of the tribes was forced to move, including Standing Bear and his family. So they went ahead and just forced them out. Because like I said, at this time, Native Americans, Gadites, they weren't considered men. Alright? Just like in the Constitution, Jake was considered 2/4 a man or something like that. 3/4 a man. Or 1/3 a man. It was 1/3? Was it 1/3? Con. 1/3 a man. So it says the Ponca arrived in Oklahoma too late to plant crops that year, and the government failed to provide them with farming equipment it had promised as part of the deal. In 1878, they moved 150 miles west to the Salt Fork of Arkansas River, south of present-day Ponca City, Oklahoma. By spring, nearly a third of the tribe had died due to starvation, malaria, and related causes. Standing Bear's eldest son, Bear Shield, was among the dead. Standing Bear had promised to bury him in the Niobrara River Valley homeland, so he left to travel north with about 30 followers. When they reached the Omaha Reservation in Nebraska, they were welcomed as relatives. Word of their arrival in Nebraska soon reached the government under orders from Secretary of the Interior Carl Schurz, who also directed the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Brigadier General George Cook had the Ponca arrested for having left the reservation in Indian Territory. The army took Standing Bear with others to Fort Omaha, where the powwow's being held today, and the place that's being celebrated. So that was their prison at that fort. It says where they were detained, although the officials order were to return them immediately to Indian Territory. It says Crook was sympathetic to the Ponca and appalled to learn of the conditions they had left. He delayed their return so that the Ponca could rest, regain health, and seek legal redress. Now, I don't know how true that is, because these devils, they'll twist history. You can't trust them. Can you get that the words were smoother than oil?
Yep.
Because, like I said, man, it says that Crook is the one that arrested him for leaving the land. Why would he arrest him for leaving the land, and then all of a sudden he get all compassionate, you know what I'm saying, and hold him detained for their betterment, So it's I can't say that he didn't, but their history says that he didn't. You know what I mean? So, you can't trust these devils farther than you could throw them. It says as iron resteth.
Yep. This is Psalms 55 and verse 20. It says he had put forth his hands against such and be at peace with them.
Yeah, because the Gadites were at peace with the so-called settlers. And what they do, they fucking slaughtered them. Okay? They said that they're not even men, and they forced them to leave Nebraska all the way to Oklahoma.
Yep, starved them out and all kind of shit, man.
Right. To a barren land with no fucking tools or nothing. To fucking die.
Yep. Hey, just to get my piece on it, man. Like, that reminds me, like, that's how you know that these devils are the forefathers of Columbus. Because Columbus did the same type of shit, man. He came over here with war in his heart, man, against the Native Americans, man. They showed them how to till the land. They showed them how to live. And guess what? They turned their back on them, man, and killed them. Killed them, starved them out, took over their land, and claimed it as theirs. This is the same type of thing that they put them in a barren land, starved them out. They weren't helping them out at all, man. He said they were putting them in prison, beating them down, man, killing them. And history repeats itself because the same thing goes on today. And how ironic is it that they put a liquor store right across the street from this landmark, man?
Right, where the Gadites were held.
Yeah, And I'm gonna continue in the scripture. Psalms 55 and 20. It says he had put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him, he hath broken his covenant.
He broke the covenant. They tried to make a deal with them, you know, to move to one of these bullshit lands, and they didn't want to make the deal.
Yeah.
You know, they just walked away. You know what I'm saying? All the deals that they made with the Gadites, okay? The Reubenites is the only one who never made a treaty. But you see, you can't trust these fucking devils.
I'm gonna grab that after this. Verse 21, it says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart.
That's right, man. The war is always in the white man's heart. That's why he's over there in Syria right now. Okay? That's why this World War III is ratcheting up. Okay? That's why, you know, everything is coming to pass the way it's supposed to be, because it's all part of the Most High's algorithm.
Yeah. It says, his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords.
That's right, man. Yet were they drawn swords, man. And that's how it's always going to be until we get our kingdom, man. That's how it's always going to be until the righteous are in rule and the people going to rejoice.
Oh, damn.
You had something else that you wanted to get?
Yeah, I wanted to get that scripture for you. And, because we quoted it, just go ahead and get it, you know. It's Sirach, chapter 12, in verse 10, it says, never trust thine enemy.
Why?
For like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness.
That's right, man. And they are the wicked.
Yeah.
They are the wicked. You got sons of the Most High, you got sons of men, you got sons of the wicked. And these fucking devils are the wicked. You can't trust them. You can't trust them.
Yep. It says, though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away.
That's right, man. You got that rusty old Ford, you can, you know, sand that motherfucker down as much as you can. That rust gonna come back. You ain't gonna get it all. You can't get it all. And that's the so-called white man. You know what I'm saying? The only way to get rid of all the wickedness is we gotta exterminate them.
Exactly.
That's why it's saying Obadiah, you know, how we gonna get rid of all of them? It's gonna be as they never were.
Yep. And this right here is a admonishment, man, from the prophets. As it says, though he humble himself and go crouching, take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him as if thou hast wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know that his rust have not been altogether wiped away. So all you got to do when you read that, you look at the history of these Edomites. You look at see the things that they've done. It says, though he humble himself, because what now? You got a bunch of crackers walking around like they love everybody. But you got to know their history. You know that they're devils. You know that they're going to do some Edomite act at some point in time. You can't get too close to these people, man. Because you see what they do when they get close. When you get close to Edomites, they turn on you immediately, man. You know, so this is an admonishment. And guess what? Like the brother quoted in Obadiah, we're going to get rid of these crackers, man. Through the power of the Most High, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, man. You know? That was it to that, though. Nope. I can get a little bit more just real quick. It says, verse 12, set him not by thee, least when he have overthrown thee, he stand up in thy place. Neither let him sit at thy right hand.
Right, man. You can't trust this nigga.
Yeah, neither let him sit at thy right hand.
He can't be your right hand man.
Yeah, exactly. He's the left hand man. That's why he's on the left side.
Come.
It says, least he seek to take thy seat, and thou at the last remember my words and be pricked therewith. You know? So the Gadites, you know, when we look into the history and then we see that we have a location right here in Omaha, Nebraska, you know, where they fucked us up, man. They've been fucking us up. This is a memorial of how these Edomites fucked us up. You know? We're going to remember this, and the Most High is going to deal with them, man. Because we can't do nothing but prophesy against them. You know, but the Most High is going to fuck them up.
The righteous blood craft continually.
You know? That was it to that.
Okay, so we're going to get back to this article. It says, Crook told the Ponca story to Thomas Tibbles, an outspoken advocate of Native American rights who had once served under John Brown. And I'm going to do a little bit of more research under John Brown because I believe when I was a kid, I remember my mom used to tell me that, you know, they used to take field trips to John Brown Cave and I don't remember if it was a place where like they were hiding Gadites or they were hiding slaves. But Lord's will, you know what I'm saying? I do a little bit more research on that. But I believe that's in Nebraska too, and Lord's will, we might take a trip down there as well. It says Tibbles, an editor of the Omaha Daily Herald, publicized the Ponca story widely. So it says that Crook told Ponca's story to Tibbles, okay, to the guy at the newspaper. Now, he could have been, yeah, we got these niggas in derision type shit. Or he could have been like, hey, these guys really need help. Can you publish something? We don't know, okay? Because like we just read, you can't trust these devils. But they'll twist your story. They'll twist history to be in their favor.
Yeah. Yep.
It says, the attorney, John L. Webster, offered his services pro bono. Now, and just a few of these names, it says, I'll read one more time. It says, the attorney, John L. Webster, offered his services pro bono and was joined by Andrew J. Poppleton, chief attorney of the Union Pacific Railroad. Now, both Webster and Poppleton are two streets in Omaha to this day. You got Webster Street and you got Poppleton Street. Towards South Omaha.
Yeah, I heard of Webster.
Yeah, and Poppleton is by Center.
Okay.
So it says they aided Standing Bear, who in April of 1879 sued for a right of habeas corpus, which I'll just go into that real quick. It literally means that you have the body. Basically, that you're a person.
How's a caveman to tell a son of the Most High that he's considered a person by his law?
Right.
When by scripture, Esau is a caveman. They're uncivilized. They braid among the bushes. Technically, we still are civilized nation. A lot of niggas just bugged out, but from ancient times, man, we've been that civilized, righteous people, man. We've always been the only men. That's why the word of human. We're only humans, man.
Right.
Israelites are the only humans. These damn Edomites, they're not human, man. They have no pigmentation, so you're not human. Damn devil.
Ask the son if you're a human. And I mean, look at his garment. You can tell that he's an Israelite.
Yeah.
He looked like he about to go do the work. Right now,
right.
Today.
That's right.
Look like he about to go do the work. Okay, so it says, acting as interpreter for Standing Bear was Suzette Lefleche, an accomplished and educated bilingual Omaha of mixed race background. The case is called United States X Rail Standing Bear vs. Crook. Now, why is it Standing Bear versus Crook if General Crook was the one that was holding him hostage? How was he holding him hostage and trying to get him free?
Yeah.
And it says General Crook was named as the formal defendant because he was holding the Ponca under the color of law, which is like basically like the letter of the law. I believe I'll go into it. The legal right, because the term color of law denotes a mere semblance of legal right, the pretense or appearance of the right, basically. So, I mean, that's total bullshit, man.
Yeah.
It says, as the trial drew near to a close, the judge announced that Chief Standing Bear will be allowed to make a speech on his behalf. Raising his right hand, Standing Bear proceeded to speak. Among his words were, the hand is not the color of yours, but if I prick it, the blood will flow, and I shall feel pain, said Standing Bear. The blood is the same color as yours. The Most High made me, and I am a man.
Yeah, that's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's basically saying that we both in this flesh. And that's what habeas corpus means, is basically we're both in, you are a flesh. You're in the flesh. You have a spirit in the flesh, which they're not human, but we both are flesh. We both have a spirit in the flesh. And that's all that he was arguing. Like, I'm a man. I have the right to fucking leave my house and to go down a goddamn street. You know? I have the right to take my son, to bury my son. So, on May 12th, 1879, Judge Elmer S. Dundy ruled that an Indian is a person within the meaning of habeas corpus. And he stated that the federal government had failed to show a basis under law for the Ponca's arrest and captivity. So they couldn't even prove, that, there's a good reason to hold them. It says it was a landmark case recognizing that an Indian is a person under the law and entitled to the rights and protection. The right of expatriation is a natural, inherent, and inalienable right, and extends to the Indian as well as the more fortunate white race, the judge concluded. The more fortunate white race.
Oh, I gotta read that again, man. I was looking up that damn devil, the Elmer Dundy.
Yeah.
So I caught the end of that. It says the right.
Yeah, the right of expatriation is a natural, inherent, and inalienable right, and extends to the Indians as well as to the more fortunate white race.
Yeah, goddamn devils, man. Goddamn fucking devils, man.
It says, years later, blind and in failing health, the court attorney Poppleton reflected on his final court plea for Standing Bear. Says, I cannot recall any 2 hours of work in my life in which I feel better satisfied. But, that's that white guilt shit, man. Because he know that his fucking ancestors slaughtered these Native Americans.
Yeah.
He know that they slaughtered the Taínos and the Arawaks and the Caribs. Okay? The Negroes. The Issacharites. Okay? He know what they did, man. And the only reason he did that is out the guilt of his heart. He didn't do that shit because he loved us. He felt fucking guilty. And he seen that the shit that we was going through. And the Most High plagued him. That's why he felt that shit. That's why, that he felt satisfied for what he did. Because he's a goddamn devil at the end of the day.
Yep. It's that Antiochus effect.
Exactly.
That's exactly what that is, man.
It says, the army immediately freed Standing Bear and his followers. The case gained attention of the Hayes administration, the president, which provided authority for Standing Bear and some of the tribes to return permanently to the Niobrara Valley in Nebraska. And to this day, like I said, you got Poppleton Street, you got Webster Street. You also have Standing Bear Lake out here, which is a really beautiful site, named after Chief Standing Bear. That's pretty much it with that. You had any final words or final thoughts? Anything you wanted to?
Hey, not really, man. Just no, I don't really have anything to say, brother. We covered all the bases. We know that this recompense is coming for Esau for things as such, and this is just one thing on Esau's rap sheet, man. And hey, the Most High, and you see it's going on now. The prophecy is coming to pass where all the shit that he's done, he's about to have to pay for it, man. So hey, call hello, you how about Shemi Awashai?
And with that being said, you have all praise to Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem, Rakar, Kadash, double honors to the apostles and elders of GMS, salutes and honors to the elect, all the brothers across the four corners who are enduring, and truth and sincerity, and the women and children who follow. Stay diligent. We almost out of here. Shalom.